Guys, welcome to the video number 335, and in this video I'm going to talk about how to make a use of a subroutine and a function, how to call basically the function from your macro. Now macros are also called the subroutine. If you don't know this, people call it generally macros, but macros means your macro means your subroutine or sub, or some people also call it procedure. Right now, I am actually uploading this video because of the two reasons. One is that it is very important to know if you want to be a good programmer, that how you can combine the subs with the function, and also for the fact that in the different last 3 months actually I have received three different emails. One from the Ashish. I'm not really going to read out the entire email, but that's what they have to say. I don't know what is the connection between a sub and function. I see some people call function from a sub and it does something. Can you upload a video on this? And then, is there a way to call function from a sub? Please explain it in your next video. That's what Ami actually has written me 2 weeks back. Then Himanshu I think day before yesterday only, he sent out the text to me. I'm trying to call the function from a macro, but it says variable not defined. However, my variable is defined in my sub. Sending with the file. Please take out some time and help in understanding. Anyways, these are all the different questions. If you're watching the channel for the first time, guys, I have dedicated this channel to all those professionals, to all those people who are learning, who want to learn Excel, VBA, Access, and Access VBA. And these are the all different 42 playlists where you can see that we have almost 330 videos, more than that, right? Access VBA, Excel VBA. This is what you will see everything here in this channel. On this channel, so I'm going to talk about today how to call the function and how to uh, make a use of it, how to combine it with the macro, your sub basically. So to explain you, I'm going to write here a macro. Let's say I name it as sub A, and then we are going to name it here a function. I'm going to name that function, let's say Ajay, and we're going to declare here a variable called integer, and the output of that function has to be integer. Now I'm not going to talk about what is a function, how do we write it, is a macro, because for that, guys, if you don't know any, if you don't have any idea, please go ahead and check two playlists. One is called the Excel VB introduction series, which would be somewhere here. If you just scroll it here, that's what it is. Here you can learn the VBA. This is for the beginners, and if you know the VBA very well and you're looking for the function understanding, then when you scroll it down somewhere here, you will see you will find a playlist called Excel VBA functions. That's the video. When you click on this, 17 videos are there, but go and watch the basic one. You'll come to know when you read the all the 17 videos per their title. Right? So here we are going to set up the connection. Now, as you can see on my this screen, let me maximize it and let me increase the size of this. Now, I'm going to write some variables here in my this the macro, the sub. Okay, so we're going to write, let's say, dim I as integer, not I, but maybe let's say x as integer, and then I'm going to declare one more variable as integer y. Now let's say we give the value to x10 and y to 5. Right now, first of all, you should know that why actually, what is the need of calling a function. Now, sometimes what happens when the programmers, what they do in order to make the function very neat and clean, and in order to make it very representable, readable, right? What we do is we like to do some actions. We like to actually apply some functions. We like to apply something on these variables, so that once they go there and they get trimmed, they get that values, whatever you're doing, addition, subtraction, or whatever, you can also write some sort of here arrays, and loops, whatever you want to write, I mean, right? But once that entire thing happens, they come back and they can have that new value. So this is how actually we do it. Now, for example, in this case, I have declared two variables, as you can see here, x and the y. Now x is 10 and the y is 5. What I actually want to do is I want to go in this function. So how are you going to go in this function? You use the word called j, call, and then give the function name, and then in the bracket, what you need to do is you want to supply, let's say, x and y, right? X and y, you know that it will come here as 10 and 5, but the moment they go here, you have to also ensure that your function should be able to absorb the basically the two values. So I'm going to write here j as integer, right? this is what I'm going to do. So I is going to take the value from x and j is going to take the value of the y. Automatically this will happen because you have written here the call j, and in the bracket you have provided x and y. Now just in case if you don't do that, if you just provide one parameter, for example like this, now what will happen when you run this, it will say argument not optional. So the argument basically in the function, which is the another parameter, is not optional. You can't leave that, you will have to provide it. It's mandatory because the function demands I and j. So that's why you will have to write here two parameters, right? And similarly, if I just let's say remove this from here and I'm just going to pass this x and y, let's see how it is going to work. Let me press OK, and there we go. See that wrong number of arguments. So wrong number of arguments means that why are you using two arguments if there is just a one argument in the function, right? So that's we need to ensure. So that is why I'm going to declare this j as integer, for example here, right? If you're wondering that what are this I and j, you can go and check that Excel VBA function series. This is nothing, these are the parameters. You know guys, when you use any function in the Excel, for example use the left function, what is this? These are all called the arguments. These are all called the parameters which you need to supply. So in the VBA also you will have to write the parameters, right? So once you have written the parameters, now if I'm going to run, let's see what will happen. Now x and the y, as you know that it is going to have a 10 and this y is going to have, y is going to have 5. When you call this function aj, what will happen? This k and y, the values are going to be transferred, this I and j, right? So if you sort of if you just put the message box here, let's say I and message box or maybe just I plus j, you would see that the answer is going to come here as 10 plus 5. So if I just run this, you get the 15. So this is how basically what is happening, and then it goes back to your this macro. So this is what we are doing systematically. We are just using these values. So it may happen that every time a new value come and this function is going to return you that value. The function is going to take the action. Now it doesn't mean that this code is possible only through the function. You can obviously write here also message box I plus j, and there's no need to write the function. But functions are a very nice way to basically to keep your code very neat and clean. Every time a new value come and they can do that. Right? Now, for my user who has written that he was getting some errors, variable not defined. I've seen your file, and the problem is that when you declare the variables, now for example you want to use this x. So here what I'm going to do is for example here I and j is we're going to use that I and j. So possibly if you do this kind of a stuff, let's say I declare one more variable which is final as long, and now what I do is I say that final equals to I plus j, and then I'm going to use, let's say, y again. This y value I'm trying to use it here. Okay. Maybe we can declare one more variable z as integer, which I'm not actually passing. I'm not passing here in xyz because I just need the 2, but you try to use this z here. So you want to actually get the answer which is 10 plus 5 and plus whatever the value you can give in the z, for example 100. So that's what actually you are looking forward to. Now, if you run this, then what will happen? Moment it goes here and it runs, this is what we are going to do. Now look at this. If I run this, what will happen? If you go and check the local window, you have here I and you have here JS5, 10 and 5, and answer to the final is going to be 15, and Z is not showing any value here, that's empty, right? Now two reasons for Z. The first reason is that why actually I thought the error would come, but the error didn't come. But anyways, if the error didn't come, should have shown here 100 because of this 100, right? So the point is when you run this, your final will be 15 and not 115. The reason is very, very simple, because Z is local variable. You have declared the Z in this macro, so it is going to be used only till the time this macro is going to run, right? Once this macro, the macro if jumps to the function, this Z variable is going to lose its identity. So ideally it should have given me the error because I didn't actually write here on the top option explicit. This option explicit, what it does, I have uploaded a video also in the Excel VBA Access interview series, that in the exam also, in the question, in the interview also, they ask you this question: why do we use the option explicit? Guys, option explicit is a very good way to show that whatever variable you are using, it is declared. Now if I run this code right now, look at this, what will happen? You got all the values x, y, z, but the moment it goes to the function, you will have the error variable not defined, and the variable is highlighted also at the VBA, which is Z. So that is a very neat and clean way to check what exactly is going wrong. So that must be the reason you are actually using that variable in another. You can't use that. And if you want more explanation on that, you can check out my video on the Excel VBA introduction series, life of a variable. So anyways, if you still have to use this 100, doesn't mean that you can't use it. Of course you can use it. You will have to change the scope of your variable. You've got to make it the public variable so that it can be accessed within the entire this module from any of the sub. So that's why you declare it on the top, doing it as integer. Now when you're going to do that, you will not get the error and the Z can be carry forwarded. So now you see that I don't even see the Z here because of the reason that Z is now actually public variable. It can be accessed from any macro. So that's why they have written in the top. It's different from the local variables. So now when you're going to use it, you can see that Z is not empty at all. And either we had got the error. When you run this, finally final would be 115. Once you have this final as 115, you can use that final in your macro also. Right? For example, you can declare here that let's say I declare one more variable, which I'm gonna make it as let's say result as long. Right now, if I have to use this final, then I can write here result equals to final and then plus. If you want to do anything, let's say further I'm going to add 100 to it, or you can do that. And then in the message box, let's say you're going to publish the result. What is happening that you're using the variables, you're passing in these parameters in the function, and function is doing some job and it is returning you a value with some addition, with some modifications, and then you're getting that value back in your sub. This is what exactly it is doing, and that's it. This is how we connect your macro with the uh, function. So if I just run it, let me show you. So now you see that the final, if I run this final variable not defined, obviously final is not going to work here. It's very simple because final is declared within this function, so it's a local variable. So because you want to carry forward this value, you want to use this value in another macro, in another function, wherever, you got to declare it on the top, which is after the option explicit. Now this becomes the public variable. So this is a good exercise on the variables as well. You can change the scope of the variables. Generally, we use the variables within the macros, within the functions, and they are all the local variables. But if you want to carry forward them, you want to, because you're jumping from one function to the another function, you're jumping from one macro to the function, or from one macro to the another macro. This is a very useful function. You can declare them on the top and you can make them actually the public variable. So now if I run this, then this, see that we are not getting any error, and in the module you have now final and z. So the moment I use this call x and y is going to take this value 10 and 5, and values are going to be transferred to I and j, and then function will do its job, which is I plus j will make it 10 plus 5 plus z, which is 100. We're going to have a value. Let me show here. We have the 1515. When it comes back to this, that this 115 is going to be added with 100. Finally, you have your answer 215. This way, guys, you can make the programs. You can connect your subs with the functions. This is a very important chapter, and many of the programmers, they don't give the beginners, many of the intermediate level users, they don't understand this. So I hope I had been able to explain you this. Any questions you have, please let me know about it. Thank you so much for your questions, and keep coming with your questions, and I keep on uploading the videos for you. Thank you so much.